Hello friends, welcome to the talk Simulating and Troubleshooting Deadlock in the Kotlin. Right. So friends, Kotlin is a modern programming platform which is used by a lot of developers to develop microservices application and then the Android applications. Right. See, all applications where multi-threading is supported is prone to deadlock, and Kotlin is no exception to this. So in this talk, you're going to see how we can simulate a deadlock, and how we can simulate deadlock in Kotlin, and how we can go about troubleshooting it. Right? That's what we're going to discuss. See, first, let's try to understand what does a deadlock means. Right? See, the technical definition of deadlock goes like this: deadlock is a situation where a set of processes are blocked because of each process is holding a resource and waiting for another resource acquired by some other process. Right? So like most technical definitions, this definition about deadlock is not easy to understand, isn't it? So it's always easy to explain anything through example and then pictures. So here, let me explain what a deadlock means through a very practical example. This is a hypothetical example. See, look at this. Let's say we have a train track, right? There's only a single train track. Let's say this train track has like 6 parts: part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4, part 5, part 6. Right? Say there are 6 parts in the train track. Let's say in part 1, that is on the leftmost side, a train is starting. It's starting to run. And then on the other end of the track, from the part 6, there's another train starts, right? Both of them are starting more or less at the same time. There's only a single track, and single track, if both the trains are approaching together, what will happen is, you can see when the train progresses and they come, when they meet each other in the middle, what's going to happen? Can the train A move forward? I'm asking it as a question to you guys. Can train A, when they meet each other in the middle, can train A move forward?
No.
No.
Can train B move forward?
No.
So why they're not able to move forward?
They both are in single track.
Yeah, they are in a single track. But if you see what is happening, here it is. See, train A is currently in this part 3 of the track. So it is holding on to part 3. But in order to move forward, it needs to go to part 4. But let's see what is happening. The train B, on the other hand, is holding on to part 4, which train A wants. But now in order for train B to progress, it needs to move to part 3, which is held by train A. Right? So train A is holding on to part 3, and train A wants to go to part 4. But however, train B is holding on to part 4 and it needs to go to part 3. So they cannot progress forward. Right? So one guy is holding the resource of what other guy wants. So then it's not able to move forward. So this is a classic deadlock. So this is what a deadlock means. Is it making sense?
Yes.
With a practical example, right? See, sometimes, sadly, this happens in few marriages, and it becomes very painful if that happens, right? I wish none of you don't have experienced that. Okay, so let's leave it there. Now we explained it to a practical example. Now let's see, here we have put together a very vanilla Kotlin program which can simulate this deadlock, right? It's a very simple program which can simulate this deadlock, right? Let's look at that program. It's a very simple program. Here it's a Kotlin file. There is a main function, which is the entry point. And now here we are saying start this deadlock application. Now, if you see what is this deadlock application is doing, it is starting 2 threads, thread A and then a thread B, right? It is starting 2 threads. Let's look what is the thread A is doing. See, Pay attention, and in case if you don't understand, feel free to let me know, ask me, right? Here if you see the thread A, right, here it is invoking the method 1. It is invoking the method 1 on an object called cool object. It's invoking an object, a cool object. Now let's see what the thread B does. Like this, here is the thread B start. What is the thread B is doing? The thread B is invoking a method 2 on an object by name auth object. On the auth object, it's invoking method 2, right? Now let's see what is the implementation of method 1 in the cool object and what is the implementation of method 2 in the auth object. So here is that implementation. If you see this method 1 in the cool object, pay attention. This is a synchronized method. What does a synchronized method means? Synchronized method means only one thread can execute this method at any given point in time. So that's what a synchronized method means. Only one thread can execute any at a given point in time this method. So if you see this cool object, the method 1, what it's doing, say once if let's say now thread A comes in here, and now we are putting the thread to sleep for 10 seconds, right? And after that, so that means if it come here, it has acquired the lock of cool object. After that, what it's doing, it is now invoking the auth objects method 2. It is now invoking auth objects method 2, right? So, but this is the method, if you see, is actually invoked by thread B, right? If you see this thread B, what it's doing, it is invoking method 2 of auth object. So the thread B would have come here. Now it would have slept for 10 seconds, and now this is once again a synchronized method. The method 2 is a synchronized method. Now this is trying to invoke method 1 of the cool object. So take a moment and look at it. So what's happening? Thread A has come and it has acquired. So if I'm going to put it in a sequence, what's going to happen is, here is the sequence of operation. The thread A acquires the cool object's lock because it has entered the method 1, the synchronized method. At the same time, the thread B has acquired the auth object's lock. Now, thread A is now trying to invoke method 2 of auth object, but now this lock is held by thread B. Similarly, the thread B is trying to acquire the lock of cool object, which is held by thread A. So if you see, one guy is holding on to one lock and he's trying to acquire the other thread's lock, and the other thread is holding on to what this guy is waiting for, and then he's trying to acquire this guy's lock. So this is a classic deadlock situation. So when you execute this program, both the threads will end up in deadlock. Are you guys understanding this code? Or should I explain, or is it making sense?
Yeah, it's clear, Ram.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, how about Bhupati? Your understanding this one?
Yes, I'm understood.
Okay. Okay, so now this has happened. So if deadlock has happened, the threads cannot progress forward. They are stuck. Only way to recover is you need to restart the application. That's what happens. It may get stuck and then it won't be able to recover, and then you have to restart, right? So this is the program, and then when we execute it, see, when we execute it, both the threads are stuck and they will not give. So when this happens in a real application, if threads are stuck, customers are not going to get back any response, right? So to diagnose deadlock, it's always enough if you just use thread dumps, because thread dumps will show what thread locks it is holding on and what it's trying to execute, right? The thread dump is good enough. But when a deadlock actually happens, we only see the symptom, right? The symptom is the application goes unresponsive. But when the application goes unresponsive, there could be several reasons for that. Maybe there's a garbage collection happening, or maybe there's a backend database is slowing down, or any reason could happen, right? So to diagnose, what you want to do is you may want to capture all the troubleshooting artifacts, like garbage collection logs, thread dump, heap dump, netstat, vmstat. You want to collect all of them and analyze to see where the problem is happening. So there is this, we have this, you can use our yCrash, which is an open source script, when you trigger this script, the yCrash open source script, it is very simple. You give the process ID and then you trigger the script. It's going to capture you a 360-degree data. It's going to capture 16 different artifacts like a GC log, thread dump, heap dump, top-h, netstat, vmstat, iostat. It's going to capture all these artifacts and then create a bundle zip file, right? And you can analyze these bundle zip files. So you can analyze it manually, or you can use the yCrash server to do the programmatic analysis. So we use the server to do the analysis, and this is the report which has been generated by analyzing these artifacts that has been captured from this Kotlin application. See, now here it has all the analysis. Here it shows, oh, this application is suffering from the deadlock. Here are the threads which is causing the deadlock, it reports. So now if you come down, here it shows, okay, this is the deadlock. So here it is reporting this thread 0 is in deadlock with thread 1. And here it clearly shows what is the thread 0 is doing. You can see the thread 0, which is basically the thread A. It starts from run method. You see it. Look at this. It clearly shows you what is. This is a thread stack trace. It shows this thread A has acquired this cool objects lock. You see, it has locked. It has locked this one, and now it is saying it is, and then it's executing this method 1 and saying it is waiting to lock this guy, auth object. Due to that, it has entered into the blocked state. Now look at the thread 1. Thread 1 is doing the reverse. You see the thread 1 says it started with the thread B's run method. You see this guy has acquired the auth objects lock. This is why the thread 0 is waiting on. This is what it is waiting on. Whereas if you see this thread 1, it has acquired this lock. And it is trying to acquire method 1, the cool objects lock. And since this cool object lock is taken by this guy, the first thread, he is also entering the blocked state. So both threads are getting blocked because of each other, and this becomes a deadlock, right? So this is how we can simulate a deadlock and how we can go about troubleshooting the problem. Any questions, comments, thoughts you have on this? Most welcome to ask. Okay, friends. So then I assume there's no questions. So then thank you very much. I will see you in another interesting session.